Hello everyone. Today, we'll be doing my first ever versus race in well over a year at this point. We're going to be seeing how fast Pokemon Emerald can be beaten using Deoxys attack form and Deoxys defense forms. This will be an interesting race, not only because they're different, but also because how I managed to get them in the game in the first place. Let's get straight into the video. Normally in the vanilla games, the only form Deoxys can be in Pokemon Emerald is the speed form, and you may be wondering how I got him to their other forms, because if you try to hack in Deoxys, it's going to stick to its normal form. But what we ended up doing is Axukairi, who helped with a lot of the Fire Red and Emerald backports when I used to do those. He essentially did the backport treatment with the other three forms. He just replaced another species in the game with that Pokemon, so that way I'm able to play with him. There is a slight flaw with it though, because at level 5, the stats aren't really correct, but as soon as I level up, they do get corrected. But other than that, it's a clean conversion. But anyways, how I'm going to cover this race is I'm going to start with Deoxys attack form, and then after every major split, which for this run, I'm going to have the major splits be Roxanne, Watson, Norman, Tate and Liza, and then right before the Elite Four. At those comparisons, we'll actually look at the two Pokemon, see who's ahead and who's behind. And today, we're going to be starting with Deoxys attack form. I expect a lot of great things from this thing. If we take a look at the stats, we have 50 HP and 20 in the defenses, which is extremely bad. We really cannot take a hit. But we have 180 attack, special attack, and 150 speed. And also, all Deoxys are in the slow level up group, so we're not going to be leveling up too quickly. And this thing's stats are incredibly interesting for a solo run. It's the definition of a glass cannon. But if you take a look at our level up moveset on the screen, we start with only Wrap, Leer, and Nightshade. Every single form of Deoxys is going to start with those three moves. However though, they all actually have different level up moves. But before I go over that, I'm going to go over the TMs real quick, because all of them have the same TMs. We actually get quite decent coverage. We get Focus Punch, Water Pulse, Ice Beam, Hyper Beam, Solar Beam, Thunderbolt, Thunder, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Brick Break, Shockwave, Rock Tomb, Aerial Ace, Facade, Secret Power, and then Cut, Strength, and Rock Smash. I am really hoping none of the Deoxys forms are going to need Rock Smash for Watson, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. If we also take a real quick look at the tutor moves, most of them are locked behind battle points, but there are a few we have access to. Mainly Double-Edged, Dynamic Punch, and Substitute. That's pretty much it. I don't think any of them are going to use any of them besides Substitute. Plus, essentially how all these runs are going to play out in the early game is I have to just spam Wrap and Nightshade on a bunch of fights to gain some levels, and being in the slow level up group really hurts. But you may be wondering, when do we get another good move? Well, if we look at Deoxys attack form specifically, we actually get Teleport at level 10, which I actually will try to use for Overworld teleportation, and then we get Taunt at level 15, which isn't going to be too useful, and then we get Pursuit at level 20. But fortunately at level 25, we'll have access to Psychic, and with access to Psychic, it's going to do a buttload of damage. Plus, we also get Superpower, Cosmic Power to boost our non-existent defense stats, and then Zap Cannon, Psycho Boost, and Hyper Beam. Psycho Boost is actually the signature move of Deoxys, although funnily enough, the Shadow Lugia from XD could actually get this move, but that's besides the point. This is basically a Psychic-type version of Overheat. It'll deal major damage, but it lowers our special attack by 2 stages. I'm pretty confident we're never going to use that. However though, for the early game, for pretty much everything here, I'm actually going to have to fight most of the trainers, because there is no way, even with our great attack stats, we're going to be able to take on Roxanne with the likes of Wrap. Although, if we grind to a high enough level, we could theoretically reliably two-shot the Geodudes at least. So that's what I'm going to try and do. After I do most of the trainers in the area, as well as clearing out Roxanne's gym trainers, I only get to level 12 and I'm so close to level 13. But level 13 for damage rounding actually doesn't really matter with this Pokemon. We're actually going to start Roxanne right away. She leads off with her first Geodude and it has 33 HP, which means if we're level 11, we can reliably 3-shot the Geodude. If we were level 10, this would not happen. This would put the Geodude into potion range. Plus, since our defenses are so bad, Rock Tomb from the Geodude actually one-shots me. The reason I was doing this is because I want to try and Blackout Train on Roxanne by defeating the Geodude, but I can't even do that right. So I do some training in the wild to get to level 14, and I am sometimes able to knock out her first Geodude before blacking out. This is essentially my plan. I'm just going to Blackout Train on Roxanne until I eventually win by leveling up. And surprisingly, at level 15, it only took me 5 Blackouts to actually beat Roxanne and get the Stone Badge. I got the Stone Badge with a time of roughly 13 minutes and 25 seconds. Alrighty now, let's switch over to Deoxys' defense form. The early game is going to be very similar, although our stats are nowhere near as good. We have 50 HP, and we have 160 in the defensive stats. That's honestly not as good as you may think, because that is still a low HP stat. And we also only have 70 attack, 70 special attack, and 90 speed. I mean, we still have okay speed, but those are not great attacking stats. I mean, that's the whole point of this Pokemon. And if we take a look at our level up movesets, our first 4 moves are the same, and at level 15 we get Knockoff, which isn't that powerful in this game. And then we can get Spikes, Psychic at 25, Snatch, Amnesia, Iron Defense, Recover, Psycho Boost, Counter, and Mirror Coat. Amnesia and Iron Defense are definitely very good moves. Amnesia could help us against the Elite Four, and Iron Defense could help with Steven, but it's not going to help right now though. I actually get to Roxanne with this Pokemon at level 11 exactly, which is the exact level I need to 3-shot the Geodude. Plus, since I actually have defensive stats, I can actually knock out the first Geodude pretty easily, and the Rock Tombs generally don't do that much damage. But on my first battle against her, I actually forgot to heal at the center to get Nightshade PP back, so I end up just taking a Blackout. And it actually takes me until 4 Blackouts into the run to actually beat Roxanne. So yeah, that was a lot quicker than Deoxys attack form. Also, the overlay says 3. I forgot to increment that, so just ignore that. But anyway, Deoxys defense form defeats Roxanne with a time of 11 minutes and 33 seconds. So yeah, so far, Deoxys defense form is ahead by almost 2 minutes. And that may seem incredible, but you gotta remember, just because of the lack of attack stats, that is easily gonna change real quickly, because once we get to the later parts of the game, I think Deoxys defense is really gonna fall off. But you know what, why don't we stick with Deoxys defense form for a while, at least until Watson. When I defeat the Aquagrunt in the Rust Turf Tunnel, I actually teach the move Knockoff, and I actually forgot at the time to teach Rock Tomb. I've kind of had a problem with this while doing these Deoxys runs. I did these all pretty close to each other, and all of them learn Rock Tomb. I've been forgetting to teach this move. Oops. But I think I do eventually teach it though. And then, as soon as I sail down to Dewford Island, I now have to ask the age-old question, should we fight Brawly now or later? I mean, we do resist all of his fighting moves, but we don't really have a good move against him, and Deoxys can't learn Bulk Up. So today, I actually choose to skip Brawly for now, and I'm actually going to do a lot of the training on the beach as well. And while I do that, I'm going to explain the nature and ability and hidden power typing for Deoxys. Both attack and defense form today are going with the quiet nature, which is plus special attack and minus speed. Both of these Pokemon have way too much speed for the Hoenn region, so lowering speed was a no-brainer, plus we need all the special attack we can get. And Deoxys has the ability Pressure, which is generally pretty pointless. It just makes the opponent use up double the PP. It only really works out with moves like Dynamic Punch and Fire Blast. And our hidden power typing for both runs is Hidden Power Fire. This is mainly just because it's our answer for Steven Stone, as well as Winona's Skarmory. After defeating literally every trainer in the area, I arrive at Rival 2 at level 21. I do finally have Rock Tomb on the learn set though. He leads off with Wingull and I can one-shot it with Rock Tomb, and then I continue using it on the Lombre and it really doesn't do that much, but the second one actually gets a critical hit. Then on the Combusken, I switch on over to Nightshade and then Rock Tomb, and it looks like Nightshade's doing more, so I just continue spamming Nightshade. But fortunately, because of our bulk, we really didn't have much of a problem against him. Although, I do want to mention while doing the training near Mauville City, I accidentally encountered these two trainers as a double battle instead of one at a time, and because of that, Deoxys' defense form ends up dying, so I actually have to black out, and yeah, that was a lot of wasted time. But I do come back and beat them properly though. And then I actually choose not to do the rest of the training just yet, because while doing the trainers in Watson's gym, I get level 25 and I can learn Psychic. This is essentially what I've been waiting for, so I'm actually going to go ahead right now and go fight the second or third gym leader, Watson. Watson leads off with his Voltorb. Psychic is a one-shot. Okay, so far so good. Then the Psychic one-shots the Electrike as well. Then on the Magneton, I go for Psychic and it does about a quarter, but I do fortunately get the special defense boost, and then I switch on over to using Nightshade, and it looks like 2 Nightshades is going to do the job just fine, because that'll two-shot it from there without putting it into healing range. Although, I do get a reset on the Manectric because I got paralyzed on the Magneton so many times I couldn't even move. I probably would have first tried that fight if it weren't for that. I do defeat Watson though on the second try after getting my first reset here, and I defeat Watson with a time of 32 minutes and 54 seconds. Alright, let's switch on back over to Deoxys' attack form. Hopefully getting past the rock-type gym leader should make things easier from here. I do skip Raleigh here as well, and then while I do the training on the beach, I did have the fortitude to actually heal at the Slateport Center, so in case I black out because of my paper-thin defenses, I can at least get back here pretty quickly without having to teleport back to Rustboro or something. I defeat a lot of the trainers in the area as well, like Defense did, and I'm able to get to the rival at level 21. Rock Tomb can one-shot the Wingull, and then I go for Pursuit into Nightshade on the Lombre for some reason instead of using Rock Tomb. Oh wait, no, I see why. Rock Tomb only had 1 PP left, but unfortunately, I do get a reset on the Combusken. RIP. I get another reset here because I forget to heal, but on the third attempt when I actually remember to heal up, I end up beating the rival at 1 HP left. So yeah, my defenses are so bad, it is literally causing a lot of problems. I don't get it. Normally, glass cannons actually do pretty good, but not this glass cannon. But as soon as I get to level 25 with attack and get Psychic, I can go ahead and take Watson myself. I did forget to equip a Cherry Berry for this fight, but hopefully I don't need it. I can one-shot the Voltorb and the Electrike, and then next up is the Magneton. Hopefully it does more than half. And it does by quite a bit actually. I'm really surprised that didn't go into heal range. Although, because of paralysis, I do end up getting hit with Shockwave, and I end up getting a reset because of it. When I actually do remember to equip a Cherry Berry, I actually beat Watson on the second try, and I get a split time of 30 minutes and 15 seconds. Yeah, do you guys remember when I said that even though Deoxys had the lead at Roxanne, it was going to fall off real quick? Yeah, Deoxys' attack form is now ahead by over 2.5 minutes, and that's despite me having some blackouts and resets. I think this is going to be the pattern. I think by the end of it, defense might actually have less resets and blackouts, but we'll just have to keep seeing throughout the run. We're actually going to stick with attack form now, and we'll compare splits again once we defeat Norman. In Route 111, I get the Secret Power TM and teach it in the place of Knockoff, because Knockoff is not a great move in this game, because it's only 20 base power, which is freaking awful. And then I can head through the Meteor Falls, do all the stuff there, and then I end up getting Strength in the Rusturf Tunnel, and then I go into the Martyr to buy some Nest Balls to catch a Marrow later, and then I can actually teleport back to Mauville City because I have that as my teleport point. This is normally what a lot of people do in their Emerald solo runs. Like, I know Scott's Thoughts does it, but I don't like forcing in HM users like Abra, so I only use teleport like if I happen to find Abra, or if I just start with it, because I feel like it's not really playing the game fairly when you force in HM users. It feels like a task to me. Then, at the top of Mount Chimney, before I take on Maxie, I did learn Super Power on my moveset, and I'm hoping this will one-shot the Mightyena. And it does, despite the Intimidate. So yeah, that was insane. Then I can use Secret Power on the Zubat, and then use Psychic on the Camerupt. Yeah, Super Power for the win right there. Now we can head down the Jagged Pass and take on Flannery. Flannery leads off with her Nummel. I go for Psychic for the one-shot. Okay. Then the Slugma is a one-shot. Will I one-shot the Camerupt? Yes, I do. But what about the defensive Torkoal? Almost, but not quite. It lives in low health, and I get one-shot because of Overheat. I actually did not save before this fight because I figured it'd be a one-shot sweep, but I guess I was incorrect about that. It looks like it's a range though, because I do go back into Flannery. I didn't save again because I assumed it was a fluke, but it lived in even higher health than before. So either it's not a one-shot or it's a very unfavorable range, but I'm going to keep trying. On my third attempt, I do one-shot it, but that's just because of a crit. I guess I'll take that actually. I don't mind that. While I go around the region getting some rare candies, I can head on down to Slateport and go buy a couple of vitamins. And today's vitamin of the day is just simply 2 calcium. I want more special tech. What else can I ask for? And Brawly exists. Yep, series of one-shots. Okay, why don't we go take on Norman now, the user of normal types. He leads off with a Spinda. I one-shot it with Psychic, and I one-shot the Vigoroth as well, but I don't think I'm going to one-shot the Slacking. I actually went for Superpower thinking it would do more, and because of the defense drop, Facade actually one-shots me. Yeah, let me try that again. I go for Superpower again. I have no idea why. I guess I was just expecting different results, but we all know dang well that's not going to happen. This time I actually go for Psychic, and even though I don't have the defense drop from Superpower, it still one-shot me anyway. Okay, I am actually kind of worried about this fight now. I do decide to just commit to the Aerodactyl strat. I'm just going to keep going at this fight over and over again until I eventually win, because surely it'll either go for something else or I crit. But after a little bit of doing this, I decide to just fight the rest of the trainers in Norman's gym for extra training. Maybe level 35 is what I need. I actually do re-enter the fight at level 35 after using a rare candy, and I now have the move Cosmic Power on my moveset. My plan is to actually equip a Person Berry and actually set up a few Cosmic Powers, because hopefully the defense boost might let me barely survive a Facade. However though, the Spinda actually does hit me with a few Facades, and the Slacking is still able to knock me out. I think I just need to get a little bit lucky here. On my 9th reset into the run overall, I do finally defeat Norman, and I get the balance badge with a time of 46 minutes and 9 seconds. Yeah, that was a very rough Norman, because I keep saying my paper-thin defenses are not helping me here. But why don't we go switch back to defense form, see how it does through this section of the game. I did pick up the Secret Power TM, but I actually didn't teach it right away. I'm actually going to hold on to my moves for a bit longer. Either that or I just forgot to teach Secret Power. Oh well, I guess we'll never know. I did this run quite a while ago as of recording this voiceover. Although, why don't we skip ahead to Maxie though? Without Superpower, I wonder what I'm going to do to take care of the Mightyena. I actually decide right away to just go for Rock Tomb, and it does hardly anything. Then I switch to Nightshade, and Nightshade does decent damage. Honestly, I think that was the reason I didn't teach Secret Power. Holding on to Nightshade for Mightyena is probably the best thing I could have done. And fortunately, even though I do miss a couple of times, I am still able to defeat Maxie. So yeah, alright, that was pretty good. But how will Flannery go? Because Flannery was not that great for attack. On her Nummel, I go for Psychic, and it goes down to 1 hit, as does the Slugma. Alright, then on the Camerupt, it looks like it's going to be a 2-shot, but it does set up Sunny Day, which I am kind of worried about because of Overheat. Psychic does half, but then Body Slam paralyzes me from the Torkoal, and it looks like the Psychic is either a guaranteed 3-shot or a range to be a 2-shot. I really cannot tell. I actually do decide to switch to Nightshade though. Because of my level 31, I can actually hit it for 3 clean Nightshades. So I actually do first try Flannery, and the attack form was not able to do that. Okay, interesting. This is actually kind of an interesting race so far. My vitamin of the day for defense form is also some calciums. I do use a free protein though that I picked up. Brawly exists. And oh look, here we are at Norman again. I arrive at this fight at level 32. I equip a Chesto Berry in case the Slacking goes for Yawn, which means if the Spinda uses Teeter Dance, I'm just going to have to deal with it. But then once I eventually get to the slacking, I go ahead and try and use a Rock Tomb first to lower its speed, but I end up missing the first one. But fortunately I woke up right away, and now the main plan is just to spam Psychic. I don't want to spam Rock Tomb, obviously, because that thing has counter. Although, it's taking quite a while to knock out, and I only have a limited number of power points. Granted, I did use a couple of PP ups on it, and I did forget to use an Ether, but on the next attempt when I re-enter the fight, I have 14 Psychics to start off with. And by the time I finally defeat Norman, I have 2 Psychics left, and I defeat him with a time of 46 minutes and 35 seconds. You know what's actually very interesting so far? Deoxys was about 2.5 minutes ahead. The attack form was 2.5 minutes ahead of the defense form, and now the attack form is only ahead by roughly 26 seconds. So yeah, defense has definitely caught up quite a lot though. But is it going to be enough though? Because I still think attack form overall is going to win, but the defense form is still, it's still holding up its own. Although, if these were optimized playthroughs, I only did one playthrough of each, I'm sure attack would be way further ahead by now. Maybe. Anyway though, we're going to continue sticking with the defense form, and we'll meet back up after we... I'd say right before we enter the Pokemon League. How about that? That's when we'll compare the two again. I go ahead and catch a Marill in the water of Petalburg, get this rare candy on this little island, and then I can talk to Watson right here to get a basement key, because I'm going to do this little quest right here and get the TM for Thunderbolt. This will help out a lot for the next gym leader. And normally the Weather Institute has no problems, but I end up getting a blackout with defense form on the Aqua Admin Shelly because Bite just kept flinching me, and I did not expect that to happen. So now I'm back in Petalburg, and now I have to go trace my steps again. That's just fantastic. When I do come back to Shelly, I end up beating her at 6 hit points remaining. I did not expect Shelly to be that hard. Normally she isn't. But all is right with the universe though, and I do completely destroy the rival battle here as well. Now, let's go check out the 6th gym leader, Winona. She leads off with her Swablu. I go ahead and set up an Iron Defense. I have Amnesia as well, so I can set up both stats. And fortunately, she does not go for Parasong. Then on the Tropius, I go ahead and use Psychic. And then as soon as it charges up Solar Beam, I go ahead and use Amnesia. But I still have Rock Tomb as well in the moveset, just in case I run out of Psychics. However, the Tropius on her team just keeps stalling me with Synthesis, so I just reset the fight. When I enter the fight again, I now have Hidden Power Fire in the place of Rock Tomb. This was a mistake. I actually meant to teach this move before Winona, but I went into it the first time with Rock Tomb, so yeah, that was definitely my fault. But with Hidden Power Fire on the moveset, I defeat her entire team with green health remaining. I walk on down all the way to Lily Cove City, defeat the rival fight here as well, but I'm not going to get Substitute yet. My moveset is a little constricted right now. I'd rather just get it later. I do go to the top of Mount Pyre though for the Shadow Ball TM. All of the Deoxys forms are going to be getting this TM for Tate and Liza. Then I can clear out Mount Pyre and enter the Magma Hideout. I do have some problems though with Maxie, because without access to Substitute, I am going to get hit with moves like Swagger, and I'm not using any physical moves, so it's just a net negative to me. Although if I hit myself, it doesn't really do that much damage, although I do kind of wish I had a physical move right now. But once I eventually defeat the Mighty Yenna, the Crobat actually flinched me with Bite, and then I hit myself in confusion, and I got a reset. I do a slight moveset overhaul. I now have Shadow Ball in the place of Hidden Power Fire, and I have Thunderbolt in the place of Iron Defense. I only really need Iron Defense in this run for Steven, but I do need Amnesia for a lot of other fights. Plus, you may notice on my held item slot, I have a Lax Incense. That gives all of the opponent's moves a 5% modifier chance to miss, so 100% becomes 95. It's not really a useful item per se, but it's on the way to Shadow Ball, so I pretty much just get it whenever I don't have anything else better to hold. Then with all the evil villain plot stuff done for now, I can head over to Moss Deep City, do a lot of the water training leading up to Pacific Log Town, and even a little beyond that as well. And by the time I'm finished, I enter the gym at level 45. Hopefully this is a good enough level for Tate and Liza. Let's go check out the fight. They both lead off with Xatu and Claydol. I have my HM users in the back to take a couple of free dummy hits, so in the meantime, I use one Amnesia before I start sweeping with Shadow Ball. Although, the problem is, I'm really not doing much damage to anything. Plus, the Xatu is actually going to slowly get set up with Calm Mind, and this first attempt really does not go too well. I do re-enter the fight at level 50 after using 5 rare candies. I was really hoping not to use the rare candies at this point, but I guess I have no choice in the matter. But with the higher level, even though the fight is slow, I am able to defeat Tate and Liza and get the Mind Badge. I do get access to Calm Mind, which all of the Deoxys forms can learn. And for Deoxys defense, it is a clear upgrade over Amnesia. It's not going to boost my special defense as much, but at least I'll get an attack boost out of it, so maybe now my special attack can actually be usable. I don't have any major problems with the multi-battle in the Space Center, although Steven seems to have some problems. He actually switched to Aggron, which I almost never see him do. Then I can enter the Seafloor Cavern, completely destroy Archie, get Rayquaza to break up the fight, and then we can go fight the final gym leader of the run, Juan. He leads off with Love Disc. I set up a bunch of Calm Minds on the Love Disc, although I should have equipped a Person Berry before doing this, but it's not like he can really do much to me anyway. Once I eventually break out of Confusion, Thunderbolt and Psychic is all I need for the rest of his party. And with Juan defeated, we are about to enter the Pokemon League. Before I do that though, I go around the region and get some more rare candies, and then I can enter Victory Road, and then right at the start, I do need to take on Wally for one final time. But his team is an absolute piece of cake, even for Deoxys defense. And also, while I was getting the rare candies, I did also get the TM for Ice Beam and the Abandoned Ship. This will be helpful for Drake. And then once I get out of Victory Road, I can enter the Pokemon League building, and I can save the game in front of Sydney with a real time of 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 33 seconds. Before I fight the league though, we gotta see how Attack Form does at the rest of the gym leaders. I'm not going to talk about the individual story aspects for Attack Form unless I do something different. Surprisingly, I actually don't get any resets in the Weather Institute, unlike the Defense Form. I'm guessing that's just because I can actually defeat it before it can even do much to me at all. And with Secret Power, Psychic, and Shockwave, I can easily take care of Winona's entire team. I have Shockwave for now, because with Deoxys Attack Form, it really does not need the extra damage output with Thunderbolt. Shockwave and Psychic will be just enough. When I enter Lily Cove City for the first time, I do get Substitute right away. I teach it in the place of Secret Power. We're only really going to need Psychic and Shockwave for offensive coverage, although it is not really the best when I have to fight the Magma Grunts with the Claydolls and the Baltoys, but it's not that big a deal. What are they going to do to me? I get the TM for Shadow Ball at Mount Pyre, completely destroy Maxie on the first attempt, as well as the entire Aqua Hideout. Then I can do all the water training leading up to Pacific Log Town and even in the rapid routes beyond it, and by the time I challenge Tate and Liza, I am level 47 and I have Shadow Ball taught in the place of Cosmic Power, because I don't really need the defense boost anymore, I just need raw damage. And with the raw damage, I can one-shot the Xatu with Shadow Ball, although Earthquake does hit me for quite a lot of damage. So I now decide to go take out the Claydol, which I do in one hit fortunately, although I really should have knocked out the Soul Rock, because I saw it was charging Solar Beam, I should have just taken care of it. But the reason I went for Lunatone first is because I normally fear about that thing putting me to sleep. I do completely destroy them on the second battle, but that's because I used literally all of my rare candies to level 56. I don't need as high of a level for the league as some of the other Deoxys forms, so it didn't really make much sense to delay the rare candies anymore. And Juan is no problem at all, even though I have Shockwave instead, and I still don't even have Calm Mind yet. I mean, honestly, this thing doesn't really need Calm Mind. It'll definitely help in the league, but it doesn't need it right now, that's for sure. And then save in front of Sydney, with a real time of 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 15 seconds. So even though defense was able to really catch up on the deficit it was behind with attack form, the attack form really made up for it. It is now ahead of defense by almost 8 minutes. I mean, the two are still pretty close together, because Deoxys defense has to do a lot of fights slower, but it doesn't really have as many problems as attack form does, especially with the defenses, because I'm still at a higher number of blackouts and a higher number of resets. So with all that in mind, I wonder how they'll do at the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. Times 2. Sydney leads off with his Mighty Yenna. I'm going to cover attack form first. I have Substitute, Calm Mind, Ice Beam, and Shockwave on the moveset. I only managed to get off one Calm Mind, and the Substitute does get broken, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. My unboosted special attack is at almost 300, which is insane, and because of that, I'm able to one-shot his entire team. For the defense form, I should be able to keep the Substitute up just a little bit longer, because even though the Mighty Yenna used Crunch on me, it wasn't even enough to break the Substitute, and with 2 Calm Minds, I start the sweep. I one-shot Mighty Yenna, the Shift Tree, the Cacturn, the Crawdaunt, and the Absol. Next up is the Ghost-type Elite Four member, Phoebe. She leads off with Dusclops. I set up a Substitute to block Curse, and I do set up 2 Calm Minds of my own, and then Thunderbolt lets it live in red health. Okay, maybe I should have used a third, but oh well, it died to the second Thunderbolt, so it was probably a range. And with that Dusclops down, I can one-shot both of her Bayonets, and then on the second Dusclops, I go ahead and use Thunderbolt. It does about 2/3, and with the Citrus Berry, that puts it out of full restore range, so I can do a clean 2-shot and then defeat the Sableye. Attack form is going to do pretty much the same thing. I only get off 1 Calm Mind because Shadow Punch breaks the Substitute, but that's fine though. My special attack, as I keep mentioning, is almost double the amount of defense form at this point, and even though I do run out of Ice Beams because of pressure, funnily enough, my ability is used against me here, I can still defeat the rest of her team with Shockwave. Next up is the Ice-type Elite Four member, Glacia. She leads off with a Celio. I go for 1 Calm Mind. I don't even bother setting up a Substitute. You don't really need Substitute for Glacia unless you're really worried about the Walrein doing a lot of damage with Blizzard. And the Glalie, funnily enough, does hit me with an Icy Wind, but my speed is so incredibly high, you could use 2 Icy Winds on me and I could probably still outspeed everything, even her other Glalie. But with 1 Calm Mind, I am able to one-shot her entire team, even the Walrein. I'm doing essentially the same strat that the attack form is doing, except I have Thunderbolt instead of Shockwave, and with my lower special attack, I am going to have to set up more Calm Minds. Although for some reason, I wait to do it on the Glalie instead of the Celio. I have no idea why I did that, but it shouldn't be a big deal though. With +3 in my special attack, if Thunderbolt is enough to one-shot the Galalies, it will one-shot the Celio and the Walrein as well. Next up is the Dragon-type Elite Four member, Drake. Very simple fight right here. Set up a Substitute, set up 3 Calm Minds, and Ice Beam, go burr. I decide to flex though with attack form. I don't even bother setting up a Substitute. Not like it mattered though, it just went Protect turn 1. I didn't bother with Sub because a -1 in Rock Tomb wouldn't have done anything to me. But now with Drake defeated, both attack and defense need to go take on the champion of Emerald, Wallace. Let's go ahead and start with the attack form. Wallace leads off with his Wailord. I use Shockwave right away to try and get its HP low in case it uses Water Spout, but it one-shots it anyway, which kind of surprised me. Then I can use Substitute, it fails a Toxic, misses a Hydro Pump, fails another Toxic, and then Sludge Bomb ends up breaking the sub. I only really needed one Calm Mind, maybe two for the Milotic, but I ended up getting +3 anyway, and because of that, I can one-shot his entire team. Yeah, that was a pretty good performance. And you know what? I think before I show off the Wallace fight for defense form, why don't we go straight to Steven Stone with attack form? Let's see how Steven goes. This is one of the only runs I've ever done where Water Pulse TM actually had a use. My moveset for this fight is Hidden Power Fire, Rest, Water Pulse, and Calm Mind. Hidden Power Fire and Water Pulse does neutral damage against every one of his Pokemon, cause without access to a water move, I don't really have a good answer for his Claydol. But now, with access to Water Pulse, I can go ahead and have the coverage just fine. Although with our paper-thin defenses, we're still going to struggle with this fight at least a little bit. But I have a Chesto Berry equipped so I can do one instance of Resto Chesto. And it does take me quite a few tries because this fight still requires a little bit of luck, but at 15 resets into the run, I am able to defeat Steven Stone and clock in with the attack form, with a real time of 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 57 seconds, with 15 resets, 9 blackouts at level 66, with a game time of 5 hours and 48 minutes. Okay, why don't we go take on the defense form Wallace fight now. At this point though, I clocked in with attack form before defense form could even defeat Wallace at all. But this fight should still be fine though. I go for a Thunderbolt turn 1 to make Water Spout not do too much damage, and then I can set up some Calm Minds, but unfortunately when it does use a Water Spout at full health, it actually gets a critical hit ignoring my 2 Calm Minds. That is very unfortunate, but I am able to set up a substitute on the Tentacruel, and it doesn't break fortunately. I was thinking I could win this fight slowly but surely, but nope, the Milotic ends up just slowly knocking me out. So honestly, that one Wallace fight died just because of a Water Spout crit. And I do defeat Wallace on the second try. Okay, let's go take on Steven Stone. I do have a complete moveset overhaul here as well. I have a Chesto Berry and my moveset is Water Pulse, Rest, Iron Defense, and Calm Mind. I had to use a Heart Scale at the move relearner to get Iron Defense back. Now my main plan is to go ahead and use Calm Mind and Iron Defense on the Skarmory. This will be a slow fight, yeah, but his whole team is going to do effectively 0 damage to me. There's not even a point for substitute here either. Plus I have Rest in case I get hit with Toxic. And by the time I defeat the Skarmory, I'm at +6 defense, +6 special defense, and +6 special attack. His whole team cannot do shit to me. And with Steven Stone defeated, defense form clocks in, with a real time of 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 59 seconds, with 6 resets and 5 blackouts at level 66, same level as the attack form, with a game time of 6 hours and 30 minutes. Surprisingly though, these two Pokemon played very closely with each other. I'm actually kind of surprised, because you would expect the attack form to just completely destroy the game. I mean, normally fast glass cannons are really good in solo runs, but the problem is, not with that low of defensive stats. Like, it was just insane. All of those resets and the extra training needed for some of the early fights definitely really held the attack form back, especially in the mid game. But in the end though, it didn't really matter. The attack form was roughly 8 to 9 minutes faster than the defense form. And I'm recording this run ahead of time, so I don't know what the leaderboard's going to look like. I make the leaderboard as of editing, not during the voiceover, so you'll just have to take a look and see the placements. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this first versus race in well over a year. I will do another one later this month with the other 2 Deoxys forms, Normal Form and Speed Form. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to follow me on my socials or support the channel through YouTube memberships. YouTube members get access to the patch files for all the backport Pokemon we do on stream, and I will include these Deoxys forms as well. Although, the next Versus video won't be until December 23rd. Tomorrow, though, for our another installment of Daily December, we're going to be playing Pokemon Black with Chinchino. That Pokemon is insane. I will see you all tomorrow for the next video of Daily December.